is Aaron Evans. I'm a partner at the law firm of Benson and Case, and my focus is on probate and elder law. I was a speaker at the Senior Law Day, and my focus was on what to do when someone dies. The primary thing I tell people in that situation is to just deal with the loss of a family member. That's the most important thing to deal with at that time. There's no need to rush out and hire an attorney, contact anyone. The most important thing is dealing with that loss. The law actually requires that 5 days pass before anything can be filed with the court. So the law was written so that there's some time in there for you to deal with the loss of a loved one and not worry about how the court's going to handle it. What I tell people to do during those 5 days is to try and gather papers, go through documents, look for wills, get names and addresses of family members, look at tax returns, contact accountants, sort of information gathering so that you have a good idea of what to expect. As I said, some things that are important are tax returns, wills, legal documents, bank statements. Get together to figure out what assets exist, and that's a good starting point. Obviously, you want to contact mortuaries and funeral parlors for burial arrangements, things of that sort. That's the priority. Death certificates will come from the funeral parlor, so they're the ones that will provide those for you. Those usually take 2 to 3 weeks to get. So that would be a priority. If you decide at that point that you need to contact an attorney or you feel a probate is necessary, I want to explain to you a little bit about how that process works so you have an idea. Probate is the transfer of assets from someone who's died to whomever they want them to go. The simplest way to explain probate is it's an asset that doesn't know where to go. So an example might be is if I own a house with my wife and it's in what's called joint tenancy with right of survivorship, that asset knows to go to my wife. As compared to if the house was just in my name alone, that house would not know where to go, so thus a probate would be necessary. I'll speak briefly about some ways that we can avoid probate, but for now I want to deal with what probate assets and how those work. If there is a will, that will tell that asset where to go. If it's going to go to my spouse, my children, nieces, nephews, whomever I want, that will direct that. If there is not a will, then we're dealing with an intestate estate, and that means that the Colorado law will govern who it goes to. And there's a specific statute that says who goes down the line: spouse, parents, children, so on and so forth. The probate isn't necessarily any different if there's a will or there isn't. It just decides who's in charge and who isn't. A will normally would say who's going to be your personal representative and then who the assets are going to go to. And an intestate, just the same statute that says who's going to get everything, the same statute gives a priority as to who's to be the personal representative. So if we decide we need a probate and we figured out we have some assets that don't know where to go, the process starts there. At that point you have to decide the county in which the person resided. It's called domiciled, and it just means where they intended to live. So that's the county where the probate starts. That doesn't mean where they might have died. If they went to a hospital outside of the county or something, it's still where they lived. So we could start in that county, and you would file basic documents to start the probate there. There's 2 types of probate you're going to deal with: is informal and formal. Simplest way to tell people is informal is easier. People are getting along. Formal is if they're not. That's how you'll start the probate process. What I did want to discuss briefly is how to avoid probate. You can set up accounts with joint tenancy with right of survivorship, payable on death beneficiary designations, and you can also do what's a beneficiary deed. Those are ways that are simple that you can either contact the Bar Association or a local attorney who can help you to ways to avoid probate and make that process that much simpler. So we do Senior Law Day every year. We hope you can join us next year.